Hello and welcome to this year's Blue Zone holiday cooking class. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Louise and I am a holistic wellness chef. I live in southern Spain, but prior to this, I was in Charleston, South Carolina, where I cooked my heart out. Today, I'm going to be sharing more about Blue Zone Christmas. And Blue Zones, there's 7 places in the world where people live to more than 100, inspired or based on different pillars like community, the food you eat, the way you move, the way you rest, no stress. There's a lot that goes into why these people live to more than 100. But come on, we all want to live a little bit longer. We all want to have a healthy life. I think that's something we can agree on, right? So for Christmas, I grew up in Denmark. So my Christmas table was full of duck, potatoes, gravy, and let's just say that that's not something my stomach prefers anymore. And now I have my own kitchen and my own family, and this is what we eat. My first go to is a stew or soup or a big pot of something we can snack on whenever we feel hungry. I always do this right before the holidays start and we start having visitors come in. I make what I call a dump bean soup. The dump bean soup is literally what it sounds like. It is a bunch of vegetables, beans, herbs. I have red onion, garlic, carrot, zucchini, chickpeas, and lentils. And I'm just gonna put all of these in to this pot. When you do this, do not go light on the garlic. The garlic will, as this pot sits for multiple days, get stronger. So this is what I call my anchor dish. An anchor dish, we can all just go to the fridge and heat up a bowl of this. Sometimes in the morning, I'll put it on the stove and let it simmer. People grab some bread, a bowl of soup, and sit with it. The good thing about this soup is it's rich in protein and fiber, which will help your body deal with extra sugar and fat over the holidays. Now we're going to give this a good saute. Once that has sauteed, I will add a bowl of beans to it. All we actually need for liquid is 2 to 3 cups of water. If you have a larger family, add 4 to 6 cups. Let it simmer, add different spices. I like to add cumin. I like to add oregano. Bay leaf is also essential. I have some right here. So add these and let it simmer. If you like to add other things to your stew, go for it. If you like meat, that's an opportunity. You can add whatever you feel comfortable with. I will email the recipes for everything I'm making today, so don't try to write everything down. This will be sent to you. All right, I'm gonna put this pot over so we can get started on the next dish. Another thing I encourage you to do over this holiday is remember that the table matters more than the recipe. It's more essential that you have a very inclusive table setup where people feel welcome, light candles, and remember that the meals we enjoy most are usually never enjoyed alone. I believe that the community around the table is just as essential as what goes onto the table. It's important that you add love and really feel what you're cooking. On the list today, we have a butternut squash. I want to show you how I make this perfect butternut squash and how I glaze it, which will be super nice. This is half a butternut squash. I've taken off the hard shell. And then you take a sharp knife and do these little slivers. Butternut squash is very firm, so be careful. Use a very sharp knife. You're aiming for that type of vibe. We're gonna do a Dijon mustard with a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna do the bay leaves. I'm gonna stick them in where they fit. This is one of the most popular recipes in my family. We're gonna make the glaze. The glaze is fairly easy to make. If you've had traditional glazed ham, this is similar. Start with Dijon mustard. It has to have that strong flavor. I'm grabbing coconut sugar. Coconut adds a bold flavor. I add about half a cup, depending on how heavy you want to go. I'm also adding coconut aminos to this particular glaze. That will just help bind the sugar and the mustard together and make it a little more liquidy. This is almost like a salty tamari taste to it, except it's coconut based. Give that a good mix. There we go. And this is what it looks like right now. It's sort of like a darker brown color. Then I'm just gonna glaze my butternut squash. Add a little bit through and through. Don't be afraid to get it nice and saucy, because this is what's going to make this butternut squash taste like heaven. I make this every year, and if you've ever had one of my meal boxes that I used to make around Thanksgiving, this was always in there, and people freaked out one year because I was like, we're not going to do it this year. Imagine cutting 200 of these. I remember my husband being like, that's the last time I'm ever helping you with the Thanksgiving box. Now that this is ready, put it in the oven and bake it for around 35 minutes. Do it the night before and reheat it the next day. It will be even more flavorful. While that is cooking, we're gonna make a little appetizer. Grab a plate and the yogurt. I make my own yogurt. You could use a Greek yogurt. A coconut yogurt is also a good option. Pour it in the middle of the plate. One of my favorite things is presentation. I think presentation is the most fun part about cooking, and then the next fun part is seeing people eat the food. I believe that food should be beautiful. It should, of course, taste good, but most of all, food should be able to connect us. So if what we're cooking can tell a story or connect us, I think that is so important, don't you? All right, then the next thing you do, you have a spoon and you're just gonna go over it sort of flat, spread it out, not all the way to the edge, but almost, and you create that crescent moon. You don't wanna go all the way to the bottom, but you wanna go pretty deep. Decorate with toppings. First, some olives. Put those facing up where the star is. Place them around, make sure you fill up. Next, I have capers. Capers add very nice salty flavor. Go ahead and sprinkle those. And then I have some dates here, perfect dates. We're just gonna chop those up roughly like this. Sprinkle those around. Grab some honey. In that little crescent moon, fill that up and go once around just like that. And then I like to do what I call my combination topping. Combination topping is very incredible when you're trying to decorate a dish. My first combination here will be pollen because it's nice in color, but also adds a little bit of flavor. My next combination is some edible flowers. I'm gonna sprinkle over top. And then I think this one is done. This is a beautiful, beautiful appetizers, and people absolutely love it. If you want to go the extra step, you can add nuts. It looks festive and fun. I made a homemade bread. Still very warm. This very nice bread will go on the side. In January, I'm going to host a class on gluten-free bread. Look how beautiful it is. This goes perfect with a dish like this. People can dip. This is such a winner at my house. Definitely make this beautiful dish for you and your family this year. And I mean, I don't know how it happened, but I'm very good at baking and I don't necessarily love it so much. Leftovers, I sort of want to touch on. A lot of people are terrified of having a lot of leftovers. Not me, because I think love is many things, but leftovers is definitely a love language. Having leftovers is probably more about caring. Imagine waking up after the holidays and there's leftovers everywhere. What a beautiful thing. So don't worry if you have too much food. Third dish is one of my favorite salads. This is the beginning of a red cabbage salad. I actually have a very hard time with raw cabbage, broccoli, kale that's raw, but this I can do. And I'll show you why. This olive oil is one of my favorite olive oils. It's from Tarifa, Spain. And it just adds the most incredible flavor to the dish. But you can, of course, also just get away with using any olive oil at home. But I highly recommend using an olive oil that's high quality. And the little tip is the greener it is, the less it has been processed. This olive oil is extremely green and it has a potent, bitter flavor. It gets sweet in the mouth with these beautiful oranges. And the cabbage itself is actually quite bitter. So when we start working with it, it will become crunchy, but yet a little bit sweeter. So let's get started. When you cut a cabbage, this part right here, we don't need that in our salad. So cut that out, or as you slice it, just make sure you leave that hard membrane out because it's not fun to chew on. I already sliced up a bunch of cabbage. I like to arrange salads in a flat bowl. I'm just gonna put my cabbage in here. This cabbage is lightly shaved. Now, shaving cabbage is like cutting it extremely thin, so we really can massage it and work with it. For years, I was avoiding it because it upsets my stomach, but how can I figure out how to eat it? Here we go. Start by adding a little olive oil, and then you're gonna need balsamic vinegar. Oh, what is my luck? It's the same color. You're gonna add a little bit of balsamic vinegar, then add a little bit of salt over top here so we can really get massaging on this beautiful cabbage. Hands in and give it a good flip. If you don't want to touch it, add it to a Tupperware, put the lid on and shake it hard for 30 seconds. You don't have to massage long, just make sure the vinegar and the olive oil and the salt gets all around the cabbage. You can already tell now that it's getting pretty soft. So this is like first step. I like to do salads where there is something crunchy, something sweet, and something baked or cooked. For this part here will be our crunchy. Then I have some mushrooms here. I have canterelles, I have lion's mane, and regular mushrooms, and I'm just gonna mix them in. I gave them a quick saute to get some of the liquid out. I have pumpkin seeds. I'm gonna add all these pumpkin seeds. This is gonna be a wintry, heavy, fun dish to eat. I'm not gonna massage this in. I'm just gonna arrange it out, kind of spread it out a little bit. We're gonna clean all those edges afterwards. I have a beautiful orange here. It's actually season almost for oranges here now. These are from the local area we're living in. I have a dried apricot. I'm gonna slice it very thinly. I'm just gonna do about 3 or 4 of these. Just make sure you have 3 different components on top. It will make every dish stand out and look more beautiful. A little bit more apricot over top. We used hazelnuts for one dish, but I think this one can carry a tiny sprinkle. I have some mint here from my garden. And in case you've never worked with mint before, a great tip, slam it a couple of times. It helps open up the fragrance. Chop a little bit of mint, take a few whole leaves, add those around. The mint smells amazing. And this salad, guys, people are always like, what is it? And I'm like, red cabbage. And they're like, I don't know if I like red cabbage. It's like, you're gonna love red cabbage. After today, you're gonna love it. And then comes a great one. This is blackberries. Place some blackberries around the place. Try not to make it too symmetrical. Just kind of gently put them in the surface. I have some tomatoes from the garden. If you don't have any, that's fine. They match with, I'm just gonna add a few. For the holidays, I feel like it's very important that we focus on hospitality more than the healthy part of things. Health is essential, but getting people around the table, enjoying food together is so much more healthy for us than focusing too much on, is there something in here that I normally don't eat? What exactly is in this dish? Unless you're allergic, try to relax and enjoy the company. There we go. Clean that edge off, get it nice and smooth. This dish deserves the best. Here's one of my favorite wintry salads. This is definitely a favorite of mine. I want to show you how I do my sweet potato wedges. Here I have sweet potatoes. These were really huge sweet potatoes. We're going to slice them up like I did here. Keep them long. If you have a big sweet potato, keep the wedges really long. I'm going to show you how to do the glaze. These are sweet potato wedges glazed with honey, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. Start out by putting a little bit of honey on here. You're going to do nutritional yeast, sesame oil. Be a bit generous with the sesame oil because the sweet potatoes are sweet, so the flavor of the potatoes tend to break through. Here you go, some sesame seeds. And then we're just going to give that a quick massage. You can always add more on the baking tray. Covered in honey, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. Line them up on a baking tray, bake them in the oven. It will be in the recipe exactly how to bake them and for how long. But this, my friends, tastes amazing. They're salt-free. The sweet potatoes are cooked are here on a beautiful plate from East Fork Pottery in Asheville. Love these guys. Now that they are out of the oven, Give it a glaze of honey right before you serve them. Give it an additional sprinkle of the sesame seeds. Be generous here. I have some mango, dried mango. It could also be fresh mango. Chop a few slices of fresh mango. Put that on top. Wedge it in to make it more aesthetically pleasing. I love spicy, and I think with sesame that just belongs. Make them a little spicy. Get it on the edges too. For beauty, add a little bit of chives. There you go. Beautiful sweet potato dish. Style of cooking is you get nice and full, but not for too long. It's easy to digest and will make your skin glowy and happy around the holidays. It's something you can always add to go on the table. But if this goes on the table, there is space for whatever else your mother, father, any family wants to make. I always make these things and add it to the table. My mom thinks that's amazing. She can focus on the more traditional dishes. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas. I hope this year will be full of presents, full of good food, full of love, laughter, and remember, investing in your community is the best thing you can do, especially during this time of your life and the stage of life you're in. The table matters more than the recipe. And remember to cook that one anchor dish. Leftovers are a feature, okay? It's not a failure. Leftovers are love. So make sure you double batch everything, and I will be back very soon with a gluten-free sourdough class. You are invited, and I hope you will join me. I am Louise Rockers, a holistic wellness chef. I'm grateful you were here with me today, cooking all of these beautiful recipes for the holidays, because that means you care about you, your health, and being happy. And that is all that truly matters today. I hope you have a beautiful season with your family. Thank you for being here.